Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there was a kind and beautiful princess named Snow White. She had skin as white as snow, lips as red as roses, and hair as black as coal. But her life was not easy. She lived with her stepmother, the Queen, who was beautiful on the outside but cruel and jealous on the inside. This woman, the evil Queen, was obsessed with being the most beautiful dot in the kingdom. The evil Queen had a magical mirror that dot she consulted every day. She would ask, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And the mirror would always reply, "You, my Queen, are the fairest of them all." This made the Queen very happy, for she wanted to be admired by everyone. However, as Snow White grew older, her beauty became even greater, and one day, when the Queen asked a question, the mirror gave a different answer. Snow White is the fairest of them all. The Queen was furious. She could not bear the thought of anyone being more beautiful than her. Filled with anger and jealousy, she devised a wicked plan. She summoned the royal huntsman and ordered him to take Snow White deep into the forest and get rid of her. The huntsman took Snow White into the woods, but when he saw her innocent face and kind eyes, he could not bring himself to harm her. "Run far away and never return to the castle," he whispered. "The Queen must never find you." Snow White ran as fast as she could, her heart pounding in fear. The dark forest seemed endless, and strange shadows surrounded her. She stumbled over roots and bushes, feeling lost and alone. After wandering for hours, she came across a tiny cottage hidden among the trees. She knocked on the door, but no one answered. Slowly, she pushed it open and stepped inside. The cottage was small but cozy, with 7 tiny chairs, 7 tiny beds, and 7 tiny plates on the table. Exhausted, she lay down across the small beds and fell into a deep sleep. Later that evening, the owners of the cottage returned home. They were 7 dwarfs who worked in the nearby mines, digging for precious stones. When they found Snow White asleep in their beds, they were very surprised. "Who is this girl?" they whispered to each other. Snow White woke up and saw the kind faces of the dwarfs. She quickly explained her story, and the dwarfs felt sorry for her. "You can stay here with us," they said, "but you must be careful. The Queen will try to find you." Snow White gratefully agreed and promised to help Dot them with cooking and cleaning. While they were at work, back at the castle, the evil Queen once again asked her mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" To her horror, the mirror replied, "Snow White, who lives with the 7 dwarfs, is the fairest of them all." The Queen's jealousy burned stronger than ever. She decided to take matters into her own hands. Using dark magic, she disguised herself as an old woman and prepared a poisoned apple. Then, she traveled to the dwarf's cottage and knocked on the door. When Snow White answered, the old woman smiled kindly and held out the shiny, red apple. "Take a bite, my dear. It is the sweetest apple you will ever taste." Snow White hesitated, but saw no harm in accepting the gift. She took a small bite, and as soon as she did, she felt dizzy. The room spun around her, and she collapsed to the ground, unconscious. The evil Queen let out a wicked laugh and disappeared into the forest, believing she had won. That evening, when the dwarfs returned home, they found Snow White lying still and lifeless. No matter what they did, she did not wake up. Heartbroken, they built a glass coffin for her and placed her in the middle of the forest. They took turns keeping watch, hoping she would wake up one day. The animals of the forest also gathered around, mourning the kind princess. Time passed, and one day, a prince who had heard of Snow White's beauty came riding through the forest. When he saw her lying in the glass coffin, he was struck by her beauty, and sadness filled his heart. He had never met her before, but he felt as if he had known her forever. Overcome with emotion, he leaned down and gently kissed her forehead. As if by magic, Snow White's eyes fluttered open. The spell was broken by true love's kiss. The dwarfs cheered with joy, and the prince was overjoyed. "Come with me to my castle," he said. I will keep you safe forever." Snow White smiled and nodded. She bid a tearful farewell to the dwarfs, promising never to forget them. They waved as she rode away with the prince, ready to begin a new and happy life. Meanwhile, when the evil queen learned that Snow White was alive, her rage was so strong that it destroyed her own magic. She lost her powers and vanished forever, never to harm anyone again. Snow White and the prince lived happily ever after in his grand castle. But she never forgot the kindness of the 7 dwarfs who had saved her. She often visited them, bringing gifts and laughter to their little cottage in the woods. And from that day on, she never had to live in fear again.